Today on What's Next.
To come here to see it and feel it was what I really needed.
It's never too early to embark on a brain healthy lifestyle, and it's really never too late.
What do you want to do? What's going to be wholeness to you? And how can we get you there?
Hello and welcome back to What's Next, your weekly dose of positivity, your reminder that we all have a what's next, and if we're not intentional about what it's going to look like, well, it might not be one that we enjoy. Now, I'm not saying that we can control what life throws our way and how all of our days play out, but we can prepare our bodies, our minds, and our spirits. We can tend to our gardens, so to speak. Hopefully, we've got some inspirational fertilizer for you today. Our first story is one about gratitude and honor. The Villages, Florida is home to the largest population of U.S. veterans anywhere not on a military base, and I believe the number is about 10,000. They range in service from World War II to the War on Terrorism, and each and every one had a different experience within their service, but all served and all sacrificed. There's a national nonprofit organization that is dedicated to honoring the service of all veterans of all wars. It's called the National Honor Flight Network, and it has one of its many hubs based in the Villages. And a crew from Growing Boulder was honored to accompany them on a recent mission to our nation's capital.
It wasn't just a really nice experience. It just changed everything in my life. All the hostility, all the anger, all the negative feelings I had about the war went away. And I really felt for the first time that people cared that I was over there. And never got tired of the expression, "Thank you for your service," to this day.
Thank you for your service is the sentiment at the heart of each of the Villages Honor Flight missions. The nonprofit is one of 125 hubs of the National Honor Flight Network, all committed to honoring those who served during World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and veterans of any service era who are critically ill.
Villages Honor Flight, columns of 2, forward, march!
On a recent mission, 66 veterans were accompanied by 66 guardians, a medical team, and flight operations staff on a one-day trip to our nation's capital.
Welcome to Baltimore, Washington International Airport.
They tour the city's monuments, going to Arlington National Cemetery, the Air Force Memorial, and they end at the National Mall for visits to the World War II, Korean, and Vietnam War memorials, all at no cost to the veterans or volunteers.
Thank you for your service, Jim. Welcome home. Sid, thank you for your service. Welcome home.
Look at all the stars. There has to be, what, 500,000 of them up there?
How can somebody imagine a design like this? It's just fascinating. I mean, I've seen pictures of this, but to experience it firsthand is really awesome, is the word. These young people today, they have no concept of what we experienced back then and the way the country came together. And, as Roosevelt said, the day lived in infamy itself. It certainly did. But we got to keep remembering it, and that's what this does. It keeps bringing it to our attention.
Seeing the Vietnam Wall is impactful for many. Buzz Kukowski was a member of the Brownwater Navy in Vietnam. The honor flight was his time to finally visit the wall and gain some closure.
I'd avoided it for all these years, and it was just time to do it. And this was the opportunity. And he was good enough, my guardian, to come along to be there for me. And it's put more to closure now. I'm more comfortable. And, I didn't trace any names or anything. I know the guys that are on there, and I don't have to do that part of it. But for me, to come here to see it and feel it was what I really needed. The idea that if more people would understand freedom isn't free, you know, you, it's got a big price, and that's a reminder to me.
This is what makes it all worthwhile. It's not about me, it's all about him today. And that's what I love to be able to do. That's how we can truly say thank you for your service and thank you for your sacrifice.
And it's just so much different than when we came home.
What a wonderful experience for Buzz and the other veterans, but also for the guardians and the medical and the flight staff. They are all, by the way, volunteers dedicating their time to make certain that these men and women are recognized and that we remember, as Buzz said, that freedom is not free. Unfortunately, time is running out to honor some of these veterans. There were 2 World War II vets on this trip, and they're in a pretty select group of the 16.1 million Americans, men and women, who served in the war. There are now less than 1% still alive, about 119,000 or so, according to the World War II Museum, with most now between the ages of 96 and 102. An average of 130 are dying every day, and within 10 years, there will be less than 1,800. One man who is on a mission to capture their memories and to honor their sacrifice is Tim Gray. A former TV anchor and sports reporter turned documentary filmmaker, Gray founded the World War II Foundation to share the stories of an unprecedented time in our history. He now produces Emmy Award-winning programs for public television and schools. He's written, produced, and directed 31 documentary films now, all chronicling the personal stories of the World War II generation, traveling the world in the process. We've done numerous interviews with Gray for Growing Bolder, and in this clip, he shares how he thinks the history of World War II is relevant in today's world.
I was really fascinated about how a generation could come together and put aside all their differences and work towards a common goal. And I think that's more relevant today than it has been since World War II. And we were able to put down our hatred of Democrats and Republicans and everything else, and kind of figure that, hey, we're Americans. This is our job. We're going to support the president, and we're going to move forward and win this war and then go on with our lives. But we're going to do it not as a political party. We're going to do it as Americans. So to me, that time period, the end of World War I right through the end of World War II, is fascinating, and how it shaped the world that we still live in today, and how it shapes everything, who we are today, and the freedoms that we have today, and the borders across the world. And I found it a very interesting time because we knew who wore the black hats and we knew who wore the white hats. We knew this was a fight about democracy and preserving freedoms and all of the things that happened. So we knew who the enemy was. We knew why we were fighting. And there really hasn't been a war like that since, where we were all in and it was very black and white.
We can be empowered to change the way we age. And it's really not that difficult.
Welcome back to What's Next. Dr. Annie Fenn is a physician who believes that the very best way to radically improve our health is through cooking. She even stopped practicing medicine so she can prove it to the rest of us. She shares all that she's learned in a book that makes it simple and clear. It's called Brain Health Kitchen: Preventing Alzheimer's Through Food. Dr. Fenn's not a proponent of a specific diet per se. She supports a lifelong way of eating that supports brain healthy lifestyle and vibrant aging, and the research backs her up. Here's some of her conversation with Bill Schaefer.
You know, a lot of people, when they write a book or come up with a diet, they'll say, well, look, science proves that this happens. So what you're talking about, say if the odds are 50% that we'll end up with some sort of dementia, by eating healthy, by following your advice, you're not talking about knocking the odds down to 48%. This could be a significant change.
Yes. I mean, we do have excellent data, especially out of Rush University, looking at one particular dietary pattern called the MIND diet, the MIND diet. It's a spin-off of the Mediterranean diet. Just in 4.5 years, they showed that participants had a 53% reduced risk of Alzheimer's. And if you kept following that study out longer and longer, those risk reductions would continue to build. And we're just talking about food here. We know that exercise is another whole entity that's very important for aging with a vibrant, healthy brain. And then there's other pieces to the puzzle too that we're learning, like good quality and getting enough sleep. We know that while we sleep, our brain seems to clean up from some of the inflammatory and toxic insults that accumulate throughout the day. But you don't get that benefit if you're not getting good quality and enough sleep. It's never too early to embark on a brain healthy lifestyle, and it's really never too late. I will say, though, that most of our data comes from people at midlife, those between the ages of 45 and 65. So midlife people, what you do at midlife, how you exercise, whether or not you're getting good sleep, what are the foods you eat, how many of your calories are coming from ultra-processed foods, whether or not you have hypertension or borderline diabetes. These things are crucial for how your brain will perform in the decades to come. So midlife is a special group where action is really necessary to turn things around if you're not on a brain healthy path. So a lot of those of us in midlife now who are seeing this play out and the people that we love who are older than us need to know that we can be empowered to change the way we age. And it's really not that difficult. It's really very simple, especially when it comes to the brain healthy diet. And the foods are delicious, they're easy. And the first step, like you said, the first step to make a change is to ask yourself, why is this important to me? Why do I care about my brain? And how do I want to start taking better care of myself?
I think she said it pretty clearly. It is not rocket science. It's basically common sense, folks, but we just can't hear it enough. And you can hear Bill's entire conversation with Annie Fenn and many other great interviews in the Growing Bolder podcast, available through NPR One or wherever you like to listen. And following up on that just a bit, you know, for many years, nearly 100% of the focus among researchers, Alzheimer's nonprofits, and advocates in the space was simply on finding a cure. But there has been a nearly complete pivot in the messaging coming out of Alzheimer's organizations who are now focused on prevention. There is still no cure, but we now know with scientific certainty that cognitive decline is not inevitable. There's new research out that proves that we can reduce, we can delay, we can even prevent Alzheimer's by reducing the prevalence of 10 specific risk factors. And she just mentioned some of them. They include depression, diabetes, obesity, physical inactivity, poor nutrition, hypertension, smoking, hearing loss, sleep disorders, and excessive alcohol use. And the biggest contributor to the rise in Alzheimer's is midlife obesity, which has more than doubled from 2010 to 2018. In fact, nearly 40% of all middle-aged U.S. adults are now clinically obese. You know, we talk a lot about prehabilitation here at Growing Bolder. It works for our brains as well. It's pretty easy to chalk everything up to genetics, but there's so much more we can do if we are only willing to do it. We can start with the questions that Dr. Fenn was asking. Why is it important to me to help my brain as much as I can? Identifying our why provides the motivation to pursue our how. How can we change our lifestyle to reduce the now proven risk factors for Alzheimer's? You can check out Dr. Fenn's book if you're interested. It's called The Brain Health Kitchen.
There's more to medicine than just prescribing medications.
Welcome back to What's Next, and I've got two important questions for you. Are you happy with your primary care provider, and how much time do you get to spend with your doctor? Most primary care practices are based upon what's called a fee-for-service model. They are actually compensated for the number of patients that they see each and every day, which is why some primary care practices, perhaps yours, see as many as 30 or 40 patients a day, and you only get 15 minutes with your doctor. But Advent Health Well 65 Plus has an entirely new model. It's called value-based care. It's one that is based upon spending plenty of time with your doctor and plenty of time with an entire care team to deliver what they call whole person care.
The moment you come in, to the moment you leave, to the moment you get home, we take care of you. And we look at you as an entire whole being, mentally, physically, socially, and make sure all that fits in a certain line.
Whole person care for whatever stage of life you're in. There's never been a time in history with a wider range of life experiences and transitions for people 65 and older. Advent Health Well 65 Plus focuses on the mental, physical, and spiritual health of their patients, even offering the services of licensed social workers available in the same office as the doctors to help with all of life's transitions. You could be an empty nester, perhaps your spouse has passed away, or you've retired and you're trying to decide what's next.
There's more to medicine than just prescribing medications. It's about listening to the patients, providing other options, right? Including a healthier diet or exercise, and having the support that they need.
It's the partnership that you're trying to form in our offices with your care team that kind of tries to look and identify what the ultimate health for you as a person is. And it may be different from the next patient that comes in. What do you want to do? What's going to be wholeness to you? And how can we get you there? And even though we have goals and we have metrics, it really comes down to how do we understand what the patient wants and how do we help them try to get there?
So, when was the last time that your doctor asked you what you want in life and then helped you get there? We all have different needs and desires when it comes to our health care. There is no one size fits all. And that's what makes Well 65 Plus primary care practices unique. They understand that we're all individuals. They listen. They take time to get to know you. They provide quick and easy access to your doctor and plenty of time, not just with your doctor, but with that total care team, and it's all under the same roof. In-house social workers, registered nurses, life coaches, a pharmacy team, and an on-site lab. This is whole person care in practice, all within the same practice. If you'd like to learn more about Well 65 Plus and to find a location near you, just visit adventhealth.com. You know, at Growing Boulder, we say never stop doing the things that you love, even if you can no longer do them exactly the way you used to. Our bold social clip of the week is a great example. In her prime, Billie Jean King was the greatest, winning 12 Grand Slam titles, and now she's 80 years old. She no longer competes, and of course she can't cover the court like she used to, but she still loves to hit them from the baseline. Welcome back to What's Next. I'm Mark Middleton, and the Growing Boulder community is growing, and I hope you'll join us on some or all of our social channels. We've got inspiring stories and tips and tools and resources to help you live your best life and plan for your what's next. We'd also like to get your take on questions like this one. What quality do you feel you need to work on most to ensure that you enjoy your life as you age? Is it physical, mental, or spiritual? Go to our Facebook page and let us know. You know, I work out on a regular basis and I work at Growing Boulder, so that keeps my mind constantly active. So if you want an honest answer from me, I'd have to say that I'd like to resolve some of the spiritual, or more accurately, some of the growing religious angst that I have. I am increasingly conflicted because I do feel more connected to my spirituality, to humanity as I age, but visits to church are far less frequent than they used to be. The constant conflict, the violence, the hate that's perpetuated in the name of almost all religions is deeply concerning, and I'm certainly not alone. There are more religiously unaffiliated Americans than ever before. They're the nones, men and women who believe in God but don't affiliate with any specific religion. They drift away from religion, but they keep the faith. All religions have some version of love thy neighbor as part of their doctrine, but it seems to apply these days only if your neighbor believes exactly what you do. I've got to get that sorted out. How about you? We'll see you next time.